This is Jill Maragos. I am here this week with you guys on the My Mom is a Bitch podcast. I'm trying to switch it up so they don't all sound the same. I don't know what I was just doing there with my speech pattern. Kind of sounded a little, wow, William Shatnery, I guess. Hi, how are you? It's good to be here. My appendix scars are pretty much healed up. Getting back to the normal. Again, I am cleared to work as of this morning. So tomorrow I'm driving to Oklahoma City. I will be at the Oklahoma City Looney Bin tomorrow, Wednesday the 20th through the weekend. Shows Wednesday through Saturday. If you're out there, come on out. Come on up and say my mom's a bitch. And I will embrace you. And we can talk ad nauseum about these fucking assholes. Hello. I don't know. I'm all over the place. I've had a lot of Red Bull. Sleep eludes me lately, but I'm here. I'm here and we're doing it. Last week, we talked about infantilization, which, just people treat you like a baby, like you're kind of dumb. This week, I thought we could talk about triangulation. Lots of shuns. Tins is triangulation. Sounds very medically. Sounds like you might have been strangled by a triangle. Sounds maybe a little bit like it could be the clinical term for menage a trois. It is not. It's really just when, hold on. Wait, I wrote this down because I'm trying to be more professional instead of just stuttering over my words the whole time. Triangulation. When a narcissist brings a third person into the relationship to keep control. It's always about control, isn't it? Fuckers. Anyway, there's more. It's about playing two people against each other, as always. Everything they do, everything these fuckers do is about trying to keep control. Side tangent. Isn't it amazing that they all have the exact same behaviors, all the exact same tactics? I think it's fascinating that these people know this. They're so smart and they learn this shit and they're like, this works. They know it works. It's crazy. I don't know if it's just learned or inherited or what. That's something I want to find out. I'll find out and let you guys know. Triangulation. It is, it's fucked up in the parent-child relationship. There's something called the golden child scapegoat scenario, which you guys can pretty much figure out what that means. One kid fucking walks on water, hung the moon, lit the stars. The other kid, dumpster fire garbage kid, And what's happening is the parent is taking all of their own positive traits and putting it on the golden child. And the other kid gets all the shit traits. It's like, remember the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito? It's like that. It's not really, but think of it that way. Like the one kid got all the good gifts and the other kid got all the shit gifts. Not actually true. Kids are just kids, Everybody's got some potential in there. All people are good and bad mostly, not narcissists. They're all bad. Regular people who have empathy and a conscience. Good, people fuck up, but people are also could be good too. And in that case, that is like the shining example of triangulation when it comes to parents. So, of course, there's not always two kids. Exactly. Shit gets played off. You can triangulate with almost one kid. You can put you can decide today they're good, tomorrow they're bad. It's a little bit, that's more splitting, but there was a bunch of triangulation. I don't even know if there's another person, what do you call that? Squarulation? I don't even know. My father was part of this shit too. So if my dad was at work, wow, did I hear about what a bad guy my dad was. He yells at me. He wouldn't give me money for anything. When we met, his feet stunk. I didn't want to get married to him. Blah, 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 blah. Bad guy. And I believed her. I thought, well, this guy's not, I just barely spoke to my dad. I tried to keep out of his way. Turns out he's a pretty great guy. Learned that as I grew up, got a little bit older. My brother, wow, I'll tell you what, she would tell me things like, on Christmas Day, she'd pull me aside and just say, I wanted to let you know I spent more money on you this year for Christmas. like every year. And I'm sure she was probably telling him the same thing to try to like fucking triangulate us as well. But like as he got older, got in more trouble, there was a time when she and I were driving and she turned to me and said, sometimes I wish your brother would die so I don't have to deal with him anymore. He was probably 16. I was probably 13. A little heavy. I believe that was followed by, don't you ever tell anyone I said that. But the idea being, we're disposable. If you act badly enough, she doesn't want you around anymore. She hopes you die. So you don't have to be a challenge to her parenthood or her ability to do that job or how she looks to other people, or you're just too much trouble at that point. So that's a useful tool in her tool belt, I suppose, as well. Yeah, a lot of like weird family dynamics. So like in my family, there was not like a cohesive family bond. There was like me and my dad, and we got along okay. As I got a little bit older, but it was mostly in my head, me and my mom, we were the heroes. And then my brother is a troublemaker. He's getting in trouble for like drugs, alcohol, drinking, probably because she told him what a bad kid he was his whole life. And then her and my dad, me and my brother were in the room. We just didn't exist. It was about my dad. So just a very weird dynamic. It wasn't cohesive. It was just this like 4 people who kind of lived together in the same house, but not necessarily had close bonds, which sucks. It's bad. Triangulation is bad in regular relationships too. And I'll tell you, this is their go-to move, you guys. This is like, this is their best tool in the toolkit, right? This is the first one they go for because it's pretty easy. Usually the 2 people involved don't know each other in a romantic relationship. They're just sort of 2 people who are being used probably without their knowledge. A lot of times people don't even say these things, but, I hate to tell you this, but narcissists lie. They lie a little bit. So, let's take, we're going to keep her name Sharon this week, you guys. Sharon and Dubuque. Yeah. Sharon and Dubuque. I didn't write it down because every week she changes. Her name changes. And I'm sorry. Sharon in Dubuque. She's not a real person, but it's just like the one person I like to believe is just out there listening to the podcast. Sharon in Dubuque falls for fucking Bobby Blue Balls. That fucker, she didn't even see it coming. He love bombs her. He tells her how pretty she is, and worships the ground she walks on and gives her all his attention, calls her all the time, texts her all the time, sending her pictures of her name written in the rain. Like, just really like, she's fucking like, this guy's amazing. Sharon is falling fucking hard for Bobby Blue Balls. And he knows it because he's a narcissist and he knows his plan. Meanwhile, after this sort of like initial love bomb phase and stuff starts to wear off, he starts throwing in these little things like, Patty at work saw a picture of you, and she says you kind of remind her of her like heavier older sister. Oh, excuse me? What? Yeah. So she thinks I'm fat? Well, no, she didn't say that. She said you look, he's using Patty to kind of sow discontent on our friend Sharon's, self-esteem. Starting to wear it down a little bit. Meanwhile, ass face goes back to Patty and says, "Oh, my girlfriend Sharon saw what you've been feeding your kids for lunch, and she's like, that's really bad for them. You want to hurt somebody, go after how they treat their kids. Parents love being told how to be parents, I hear." So yeah, and these 2 people probably will never meet. But it's their way of taking the ownership off of the slander. I didn't say it. It's not what I said. It's what Patty said. Well, why'd you share it? Like, oh God, they fucking love this stuff. They love this stuff. And even in non-romantic relationships, I had a comedy partner and we did a podcast for a little while. I really enjoyed it, actually. It's called the Mind Behind podcast. And this person that I was in the podcast with, he had some friend. I'd never met her. I don't know her. She wasn't a comic. I'm guessing like some girl he like hooked up with or whatever. Honestly, I never really knew her. I can't remember her name. But each week he would get an email of all the critiques she had about her podcast. This woman's never had a podcast in her life. She wanted to have a podcast. She didn't. And so every week he'd say, well, so-and-so said this and that, and, maybe we should have this, or, maybe we should have an email address where people can write in and tell their stories. And I'm thinking, yeah, because she wants to be able to write in and tell her stories and become part of the podcast. Like, it's not the format. Like, we don't really have guests or anything. And I just sort of like dismissed it. We get in fights about it because I'm like, this isn't her podcast. I don't understand why is this happening? And then the last thing she said was, well, Jill's sorry, look at me hitting the mic again. I promise one week I will get through the whole episode and not hit the microphone. The last criticism I think she had of me was that I have a really annoying loud laugh. And he made sure to tell me about that. Now, I've never met this girl. We weren't Facebook friends. I didn't know her. I don't know if she actually ever even said any of that stuff. Did it piss me off? Fucking yeah, it did. Of course it did. I'm like, what the fuck? I am pouring hours and hours and hours of my life into this podcast. I'm doing all this work. I'm putting up with this lunatic on a fucking daily basis because by this point, it was like impossible. It was trying to herd cats, trying to like get this fucking podcast done. And I'm being told I have a fucking annoying, loud laugh. Well, gee, this is fucking fun. That's triangulation at its best. And I'll tell you, I fucking fell for it. I did. Are you being triangulated? I bet you kind of are. I bet you have been at some point. There's got to be. Write to me. Write to me at Evil Mom Pod. Tell me how you were triangulated because I would like to know. I would love to know. I'll tell you what else. Sorry, now I'm just on a rant. My mom would triangulate my relationship with her sister. So my aunt. I love my aunt. My aunt is like one of my favorite people in the entire world. If I was like, I need an arm, she would cut off her fucking arm and give it to me. She's one of those people. She's a great mom. She's a great grandmother. She's a fantastic person. Everybody loves her. And she's normal. She's a fucking normal, wonderful person. I say normal. She's not a fucking psychopath. All right. And I have a really good relationship with her. I love her. We text a few times a week at least. When I go to Buffalo, go back to Buffalo, my hometown, I'll stay with her and we'll just stay up and talk all night. She is fucking amazing. Well, one day my mom starts complaining about how, my dad fixed a lock on her shed and she wasn't going to pay him for that, which I don't know why you'd charge your sister money to fix a lock on a shed, but that's fine. She was like, I'll have to pay you later. And it became a big thing. She blew this stupid little thing up into a major thing in order for me to take sides. And she says, well, I know that she's my sister and everything, but I don't love her. And I said, well, I do. And I don't want you to talk about her like that to me. And then we didn't speak for a year because, how dare I? How dare I say that? That's triangulation. She's trying to manipulate my relationship with my aunt. She's trying to manipulate my relationship with my brother. She's trying to manipulate my relationship with my father because the more you wean everybody else out, it's just her. And that means all the attention's for her. That means those people can't distract from her. Those people can't tell you what she's doing is fucked up. It isolates you. And it just gives them all the fucking control. And it fucking sucks. They love doing this. They absolutely love doing this. And I'd love to hear about it. Again, evilmompod@gmail.com. I wish I could have gotten the My Mom is a Bitch podcast Gmail, but they won't let me use bitch in the name. It just sucks. Anyway, that's probably it for triangulation. I know that's a lot of personal stories, and I'm sorry. I guess that's all I have. But I mean, yeah, it seems very juvenile, doesn't it? It seems very like, well, so-and-so said this about you. It seems very like middle school girl technique. That shit works. Tell me middle school wasn't the worst ever. Ugh, I swear. That was my whole growing up. Middle school was that whole, she said this about you. Anyway, again, another tangent, and I apologize for that. Okay. Well, this is like about the halfway point. So I guess I should do another journal reading. I don't even know. I don't even know if I should do the journal reading. I guess I will this week because I've been doing them and I like to keep the structure. I just don't know how good they are or funny they are. I haven't had any feedback either way. One time I think somebody said they were funny, but whatever. Okay, let me see here. Okay, here we go. This one I thought I should just take right from my cognitive behavioral journal therapy book. So what this is the side, I think I was telling you guys last week about, when you're having, did I tell you guys about that? Yes, I did. Anyway, a good practice for cognitive behavioral therapy, or, anybody, you don't have to call it that if you don't want to, is you just write down all your feelings on one side. And then you respond to those things as though you were responding to your best friend or somebody you love. Okay. So, this is the side where I vented. And I think what I did was I went through the worst possible case scenario. And it was a situation where we were moving. We were moving from California to Memphis, Tennessee. And, I was in charge of getting the house ready to sell. So I think that's all you kind of need to know. And Matt's my husband, because I reference him here too. Okay, here we go. I have to get the house ready for pictures and to put up on the market. It's not perfect. No one will want to buy it. If no one buys it, it is my fault because I'm responsible for making it nice. If no one buys it, Matt will leave me and I will die alone. Also, if the house isn't perfect, people who come to look at it will know I'm not perfect. And I'll get kicked out of society and die. Your host of My Mom is a Bitch podcast can be pretty dramatic sometimes. I will, you know what? I will tell you that's probably, oh my gosh, I'm really bad with this microphone. That is how I felt at the time. That's absolutely how I felt. I've gotten a little bit better with the perfectionism. I have. I will leave the house without makeup on now. So there. Sounds crazy. But yeah. I'm not as much of a perfectionist as I once was. Anyway, you want to hear the other side? Maybe we should do you want to hear what I wrote on the other side of that? Let's do that. Because here's my answer to that. I think it's kind of interesting. Let's do this for a second. This is me talking to myself. We bought this house and it was less perfect than it is now. You are not responsible for making this house perfect. Technically, it can't even be perfect. It's an older house and it's really nice. It will present well. Make small improvements, but you do not need to paint rooms. Jill, you know that is silly. I was talking directly to myself in the third person. The house, what did I say? The house needs to be perfect. That's weird. I'm having this is interesting. Okay, this is another technique. Let's go right into the cognitive behavioral therapy part of the self-help thing, because this is another tool. We're going to do this tool really quick, and then we're going to talk about another one, because this one just crept up on me, and it's very, very simple, and it helped me. So I hope it helps you too. So it's very simple, okay? I'm only reminded of it because it's right here underneath my response to myself. Very simple, okay? And it's 3 sentences. In my case, it was about the house being perfect. So I write down, the house needs to be perfect. Because that's what I'm thinking. The house needs to be perfect. What's the problem? The house needs to be perfect. And then underneath that, I write, I'm having the thought that the house needs to be perfect. And then underneath that, I write, my mind is generating the thought that the house needs to be perfect. So what it's doing is it's just gradually, step by step, taking it out of that really feeling realm. You're going, okay, so the house needs to be perfect, right? And then you're going, well, wait a minute, this is just a thought. I'm having this thought that it needs to be perfect. And then you're saying, oh, my mind's generating the thought. So it helped me. It helped me kind of like distance myself from it, just being like, oh, I see. The computer's putting out this ticker tape of this thing that's written down here. My brain is just making this happen. My brain is telling me that it does that, which is fine. That's what my brain does. Okay. I think that's interesting. So if you're having a bad day and you're like, oh, I'm so unworthy, you'd write down, I'm so unworthy. Underneath that, you'd write, I'm having the thought that I'm so unworthy. And then underneath that, you would say, my mind is generating the thought that I'm so unworthy. Because you're not unworthy. That's how that works. You're not unworthy. Your brain's just used to making these thoughts. It's in that pattern. It does that thing. You're actually fucking fine. I don't know. I think it helps. If it does help, let me know. evilmompod@gmail.com. I'm giving out the email out this week. I want to know what you guys think. I think it's interesting. Okay. That was not what I had planned on covering today, but we did it anyway. So that's kind of fine, I think. I don't know if I wanted to double up on tools because I'm going to run out. Okay. I don't know. This one didn't help me. I don't know. I don't ever feel like it did. But you know what? We're all different. We're not all the same apple. Some of us are Granny Smith. Some of us are Gala. Some of us are red fucking delicious. And if you're red fucking delicious and this applies to you, then hey, who am I to not share this? All right? This one, taking this from an actual copy of a book that my therapist gave me. It's called Thank You Mind. Thank You Mind is the name of this practice. And I'm going to read it for you. This is a very brief diffusion. So diffusion is just trying to like separate yourself from your thoughts. A technique in which you simply thank your mind every time an unpleasant thought pops up. It's a quick way of reminding yourself that's only a thought, that thinking is what your mind does, and that in a minute, your mind will be doing something else. It may take several thank yous to diffuse from a persistent train of thought. Here's an example. What I said was lame. Thank you, mind. I'm a loser. Thank you, mind. They're laughing at me. Thank you, mind. I'm anxious. Thank you, mind. I'm dizzy. Thank you, mind. Oh, all right. Never mind. That's what happens is you just start, you're like, yep, got it. Mm-hmm. Do you ever get feedback from somebody that you're just like, really? Your kids are fucking brats and you're telling me that I'm doing everything wrong? Yeah, great. Thanks. Thanks for that. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Betty. Sure. Yeah, no, that's great. That thing. It's telling your brain, yeah, I got it. We got it. We're all right. We got it. It's just fine. Okay. That's a short podcast this week, you guys. I feel like I should have added more things, or it's fine. We can just keep it at 22 minutes. You guys you're fine without me. Something else I want to remind you of. I'll take a minute just to tell you how fucking great you are and that you're doing all right. And I appreciate your listening. I got 5 minutes. I could ask you to subscribe if you don't mind. Subscribe. Tell your friends. That would be nice. Keep being awesome. Just want you to know that you're a good person. You know what? It's so weird. This is no place in anything. But you know what? I've got extra time. I'm just going to tell the story. I fell asleep thinking about it last night. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm going to tell the story anyway. It's not about me. It's really not about me. Years ago, my aunt, who I referenced earlier, she had a house out by the airport, had power lines behind it. It was a cute little house. I'm just saying, not necessarily, she was not necessarily living in the lap of luxury. She had a modest lifestyle, and she had a little above ground pool in the backyard there. And there was a little kid that I had not seen, a little girl, probably about 5 years old. And my aunt said hello to her, and she's a real happy little girl. Remember, she was blonde and just kind of running around. And she went back inside, and I said, who is that? Who is that? And she said, oh, she's being fostered by the people down the street, and sometimes I let her come use my pool. And she really likes it. I'm like, that's really nice of you. And it turns out that this little girl was taken away from her parents because she had cigarette burns in her back. Now, that's pretty fucked up. And this little girl is like happy to be swimming in my aunt's pool, and I think of her all the fucking time. And this is something that this little girl is now going to have to overcome. You know, she's going to have to overcome the fact that one or both of her parents fucking put their cigarettes out on her skin. And that one or both of the parents didn't stop it. And that this person just did it more than once. And I don't know this girl's name. I don't know her parents, which is a good thing, because I think if I knew them, I'm not saying I would act on it, but I am saying that I just wish physical harm on these people. I really do. I hope they fucking choke on their own vomit and just die, because these people are fucking assholes. But it also made me think about the fact that it's easy to go, well, my parents didn't put cigarettes out on my back. You know, there's always this sort of comparison, or at least there was when I was getting better, about, well, yeah, but they didn't lock me in a basement. Or, yeah, but I mean, we always had food, and, we had a house to live in, that kind of thing. But your cigarette burns are different than everybody else's. And if you're going through shit, regardless of, the spectrum of horrifying events that they could take place on, from being locked in a basement to just the side eye or whatever, it doesn't make your journey any less valid. You matter too. This little girl fucking matters, and I don't think I'll ever forget her situation. But at the same time, it's important to remember that it's not comparative. I had a therapist tell me once, just because there are people starving in India doesn't make you any less hungry when that time comes around. So it matters. It does matter. So, I hope that you're doing well, and I believe that you're a good person, and I believe you can overcome some of this garbage. Maybe we'll never ever be exactly the same, but these people don't have to ruin your life for the rest of it. They don't have to ruin the rest of your life, is what I'm saying. You got a friend in me, and I'm here. Send emails. Keep fighting the good fight, and I believe in you.